give a quick introduction just to themselves, just a short one as well. We'll start off with Alexei.
All right. Hey, I'll keep this super short. So I'm Alexei. I'm one of the co-founders of Bob. We've been working on Bitcoin for the last 8 years. And what we're doing is we are creating a roll-up ecosystem around Bitcoin that will be secure by Bitcoin, but also will enable innovation to flow in from the Ethereum space. And what we just did is we launched our public testnet. So you can go over to gobob.xyz and check it out.
Lovely, thank you. Michael, do you want to give a quick introduction to yourself?
Sure. My name is Michael. I'm a product director at Unisat. I'm a very visual person, so what I really hope to achieve with Unisat is to create a better user experience and better interfaces. So I'm also interested. So excuse me. I'm also interested in talking about sequencers and layer 2. So yeah, let's get started.
Awesome, sounds good. Jeff, you want to go next?
Hi, my name is Jeff, and I'm the community manager over at the Bitcoin Startup Labs. We're a pre-accelerator on Bitcoin, helping companies take their idea into the more project stage and actually raise and seek investment. And glad to be joining you guys. Excited for your testnet, and I'm really happy to see everybody here coming together. So, good morning, everybody, and looking forward to it.
Excellent. Have we got Isabel and Tiggs here? Or I don't think they're requested to speak yet. If not, Dylan, feel free.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Dylan. I'm a BD manager here at Dia. Dia is a cross-chain Oracle provider. We're live on 39 different L1s and L2s currently, and always looking to expand across and partner with new ecosystems and teams building out new chains. So really happy to be here. Congrats on the launch, everybody on the BOB team. And thanks again. Looking forward to the conversation.
Lovely, thank you. And the last finally, Elizabeth from Xverse.
Hey all. Yeah, I'm Elizabeth Olson, head of growth at Xverse. We're the leading wallet for Bitcoin Web3. So everything that's you've seen that's been developing around Bitcoin, like ordinals and BRC20 and Stacks 20 and Rare Sats. These are all things that we're uniquely supporting in various ways. And yeah, excited to be here.
Thank you. Okay, right. Let's kick off with the discussions. First kind of topic I wanted to raise is the future of the BTC L2 space. This is an open question. Whoever wants to jump in, if they've got a strong opinion on this, how much room for growth exists in the Bitcoin layer 2 solutions compared to base layer Bitcoin, and what factors might drive adoption?
Yeah, I'll jump in actually because I've been talking about this a lot lately, just with friends and in general in the industry. But I think right now we're in a genesis stage. Obviously, there's a lot of different choices out there for layer twos, but the key thing is that these layer twos, like there's really no singular one that we're using over another particularly. I mean, it was stacks forever. But I think, with like ZK rollups coming, and then also with a lot of other unique layer twos being created, it really is going to help push the token market. I think the first primarily. I'm sure it'll come into play within the ordinals market eventually. There'll be some layer two that we use maybe to wrap an ordinal and move it around. But I definitely see it enhancing the future. I think the main problem with Bitcoin that I see right now is just like in terms of like it's just transaction fees. They're horrific. They're not as bad as Ethereum, but they're still pretty bad. And so a lot of people, if you're trying to get to like the average user, they're not going to want to come in and deal with that. I mean, they'll buy Bitcoin, they'll hold Bitcoin, but in terms of doing like transactions on chain in order to interact with different elements within Bitcoin, it's still kind of a challenge. We've definitely come a long way from where we started back in February, and things have really just improved for sure. But I definitely see it. I do see the layer two becoming more seamless to where you don't even know that we're using it. Essentially, and then that's when we'll start getting regular users kind of coming in. And I just see once that happens and the Bitcoin DeFi space kind of opens up, I just see a major explosion coming in. So I think we're definitely like on the cusp of something really, really, really major right now.
Yeah, no, excellent. And to be honest with you, I think one of the main I mean, everyone knows of Bitcoin, and I think one of the key things is going to be, especially for the next upcoming few years, is definitely driving adoption and getting more use cases out of Bitcoin as well, which is what we've seen happening in the past 2 years, especially with ordinals, inscriptions, and the possibilities are really starting to open up. Has anyone else got a comment on the topic as well?
So I mean, just kind of to jump in. I mean, the reason why we're working on rollups for Bitcoin is that, simply put, Bitcoin does not have the functionality to create native on-chain DeFi, native lending protocols, fast transfers of stablecoins, all these things that are widely adopted and where there's a lot of demand across the globe, right? Ranging from people who want to just manage their own private personal finance, funds that want to actually deploy more capital in DeFi, emerging markets that have a strong demand for stablecoins. Whereas on Ethereum, L2s exist to scale. On Bitcoin, it's not just scaling; it's actually adding functionality in this modular manner. You're adding rollups as modules, as we can consider them co-processors to Bitcoin. You use Bitcoin for security, storage, settlement, but then add functionality around it. And this idea has existed for ages with Bitcoin sidechains and so on, but never before was there so much demand and also so much new technology and development of how to make these things useful. Because of course, like if a rollup exists but it's not useful, it's not usable because it's too slow, there's poor UX, and so on, and you can't really build on it, then it's not going to be successful. But today we have so many rollup stacks, and the technology in terms of user experience on the Ethereum side is so advanced that now when applying this to Bitcoin, you actually can create something really impressive that can make a difference. Combining, this innovation and like massively improved user experience and developer experience that you see on Ethereum and L2 ecosystems on the east side with Bitcoin, the asset, Bitcoin's global adoption, Bitcoin's perception is specifically is also from the political side of things, and like being considered the only globally neutral asset, you can actually create a lot of interest from both users and developers, and that's why I think now is the best time to look and build on Bitcoin layer 2s.
Yeah, I'll tune in then. So at Unisat, we're heavily focused on ordinals. And right now, as you said, the fees are absolutely crazy right now. So, for example, for our latest product, BRC20 Swap, we built our own sequencer rollup. So that's effectively a layer 2 network. And yeah, we would like to see more innovation happening. We are actively monitoring like the ecosystem, and we love to speak to projects and find out like the next solution. Personally, I feel like zero knowledge rollups are very important. So I really want to explore that subject too.
I can jump in here as well. Sorry, my voice is a bit weird. I'm still waking up. But I would say a lot of this is also around a cultural narrative right now. Before ordinals, for example, we had, and even still, we still have these sort of two camps on Bitcoin. One is these purists, these maximalists that are kind of frustrated whenever you use block space for really anything other than that which is strictly financial, store value, treating Bitcoin like digital gold. And then you have this other camp of people who are really looking for innovation. So, but factually, in order to maintain Bitcoin's stability and longevity, we really do need to find ways to make Bitcoin programmable and put it to work to pay fees and incentivize the miners. Otherwise, block rewards will just start to decrease over time. And so even for Bitcoin purists who want to treat Bitcoin just like a frozen, unmovable rock, you really need to find ways to make it productive and find, this is ultimately going to be kind of like a win-win solution for everyone if we're looking to onboard the next billion users. So I think what's so great about what's happening right now is that we're really starting to see this cultural shift and reshaping the Bitcoin narrative and the landscape around how we view Bitcoin and how we can make it usable and bring on this new wave of builders. And because ultimately this is a really fantastic renaissance moment. I see Eric Walls in the listeners too. So yeah, I mean, especially with what Eric and Udi have been doing around, just bringing this new wave of adoption and forcing people to see Bitcoin through a new lens. And I think it's, the congestions of the blockchain that's ultimately driving this demand, and people looking for lower fees solutions. So yeah, it's really exciting what we're seeing, over at Xverse, all this demand finally, we're able to support, new features and new developments on Bitcoin. And yeah, really excited to see these developments continue to happen.
Thanks for the responses, guys. Elizabeth, you're completely correct. It's all about kind of changing that narrative that's around Bitcoin and how to keep moving that forward, because definitely it's changed so much in the past year. Which kind of leads you on to the next question as well. We've talked about how much innovation is happening right now in the Bitcoin space. But Jeff, I'm going to direct this question to you. What are some of the most promising innovations happening right now that you've seen in the Bitcoin kind of layer 2 world, and just Bitcoin in general as well? What's showing the most potential?
Yeah, no, I think right now, I mean, in terms of what we haven't already seen, a lot of the time, I would say like ZK rollups seem to be the biggest thing kind of happening right now. The company, obviously, I mean, there's a lot of companies doing cool stuff with it. I think Taproot Wizards is doing something like really interesting with it as well, but I'm not sure exactly what they're building, but I know they're working with it. And then on our end, I think Bison Labs is doing really well. And one of the cool things is they're actually going to be launching at least their first like token claim with us. We have like a curated token we're launching Friday. But the real cool thing about it is that'll be the first one that they actually use their platform for. So it's actually going to be on ZK. It's going to be the first, I'm sure, of many that they do. And just seeing them incorporate like an AMM and just kind of some of the stuff that they're doing. And there's other companies doing this as well. There's a lot of good companies and that I've actually seen kind of working with ZK technology. And I just see that being like, the next really big, like, I guess, explosion in there too. It just seems to be really well adopted. I think a big part of it is that the fact that a lot of people who are in ETH, who use the technology, who want to work in Bitcoin, can just move over to Bitcoin and begin using it. I mean, I've seen people come in with ideas into the program and decide to join teams that are already pre-existing working with ZK. So, those are kind of some indicators of kind of like, where the interest is, at least from the developer standpoint, with working with like a specific technology. When you see someone kind of come in, or when you see people kind of come in with different ideas, and then they kind of gain a fundamental understanding of that technology and decide to pivot over to it, or even not even like start a company anymore, but work for another company that's already using it. It's pretty interesting. And I'm definitely like interested to see like how well it's incorporated into the space. I really think it has potential.
Awesome, thank you, Jeff. Dylan, did you have any comments to make on that one as well? The promising innovations.
Yeah, I'd love to actually hop in here from my sort of like outside of the BTC roll up and layer 2 ecosystem. And from my perspective here, right, we're a cross chain Oracle, so we're really on the tooling side of things here. What's interesting for me is really the EVM compatibility that I'm seeing, or that I see promised, right? Of course, Bob is seemingly the first chain or the first roll up to launch EVM compatibility on a live testnet today. So congrats on that, guys. But from my perspective, outside of this general sort of ecosystem so far, this is what's interesting to me. We know that Bitcoin has the most volume and arguably the most liquidity, but when it comes to DeFi liquidity, when it comes to actually performing activities on chain, we find this within sort of the EVM compatible environments. And so I think this is what's exciting. I think from a user on my end, this is how I'm really going to be able to get involved with Bitcoin DeFi. I know Alexi's been building Bitcoin DeFi solutions for 8 years. And like, I'm so excited that we're at this stage now where I'm actually just going to be able to seamlessly access, these tools based on these common on ramps like MetaMask and just basically the tools that I use on an everyday basis to interact with other DeFi and other applications. So from my end, I think it's really just like the accessibility of really what's happening now on Bitcoin layer 2s, and how it's not just, this this obscure idea where you have to download and completely access new tools and new wallets and whatnot, but wallets that you're kind of familiar with already what this infrastructure looks like, and and how to access it. Yeah, I think this is really what's interesting from my perspective.
Excellent, thank you. We're going to move on to, just for the people who joined, by the way, we've decided to split the space into three sections. The first one was the Bitcoin layer 2 space. Second section is going to be about the scaling Bitcoin via rollups, and the last one's going to be about ordinals as well, which has obviously been booming. Everyone knows been booming in the past. God knows how long now, but that's the kind of the setup for today. So we're just going to move on to Bitcoin scaling Bitcoin via rollup. So Alexei, you can answer the first question that we've got, which is, can you explain at a high level how rollups are able to scale Bitcoin and the trade-offs involved? What varieties seem most promising?
Sure. So I think it's important to know that like rollups is it's not like a golden or a silver bullet. Like there is no free lunch. There's always a trade-off, right? And if you look at ETH rollups, the vision for a rollup is to achieve two things: one, security inherited from the layer one, and two, a native bridge for the assets. And in fact, if you take a closer look, it's the same thing. What you want to achieve with a rollup is to be able to move your assets from that layer one into the rollup, do something there, and be sure that if the rollup does something fishy, funny, or breaks, that you can always get your assets out. So basically, it's kind of a bridge, more or less, right? If you can really dumb it down. Of course, it's more, but let's simplify. And in the Bitcoin space, the challenge that we're facing is that we don't have smart contracts. Bitcoin is agnostic and oblivious to anything that's going on outside of Bitcoin itself, and there is no easy way to actually react to external events. So things that go on the rollup, you can't really react to them. And we've seen, first attempts at sidechains, which you can also consider kind of rollups. It's in the same design space that use multi-signatures, right? So you kind of select a few trusted players, and you assume that as long as the majority of them is honest, you'll be able to get your assets out. Well, what we really need to achieve rollups is we actually want to make sure that the Bitcoin full nodes, the consensus nodes, Bitcoin as a whole enforces the correct operation of the rollups that are connected to it. Unfortunately, that is not possible without a fork. What we can do, however, is to try to create optimistic rollups or inherit parts of Bitcoin security. And here there's a wide range of designs, and I really recommend taking a look at an upcoming article by documenting Bitcoin or bitcoinrollups.io, also here in the audience, that will really cover this design space and provide insights into the different design decisions you can make. But if you really kind of jump ahead and look, okay, what could we do today? I think the tools we have is, one, really trying to use statistical security, so get as many people as possible to run a big multi-sig, likely using threshold cryptography, where you can create multi-sigs with up to 100 signers or more. And then the assumption is, as long as the majority of them is honest, you're fine. And you just try to optimize for statistics. The more people participate, the lower the chance that the majority misbehaves. That's one approach. The other approach is to try to use something like BitVM, which allows us, without going into too much detail, allows us to create fraud proofs on Bitcoin. So you could challenge a malicious operator. That is what BitVM enables. So if you have a sequencer that misbehaves, if there's a set of other sequencers, let's say you have 20 sequencers and at least one of them is honest, that sequencer could prevent the other malicious sequencers from stealing your Bitcoin. So that is currently the best possible design direction that we see on Bitcoin today. But this again assumes that we get BitVM to work in an efficient manner. Other designs that we've seen are obviously ZK rollups, where you have a rollup that supports full state validation. So you can get a proof that everything on that rollup was executed as per the consensus rules of that rollup. So nobody is stolen your assets and so on. And then what's currently is being done with these kind of rollups is data is posted to Bitcoin. So at least everybody can see and validate the proofs. The big question is, what do you do with these ZK proofs? Like, everybody on Bitcoin will be able to verify if a ZK rollup, cannot produce a valid proof and post it to Bitcoin. We'll see that. The problem right now on Bitcoin is we can't react to it really. Whereas on Ethereum, you can have a smart contract that, forces exit and deals with, the proof being invalid and kind of tries to mitigate the situation. Although again, if the proof is broken or not submitted, you already have a problem. On Bitcoin, we can't do that. And again, here, you need someone to enforce like a secure exit back to BTC, and we're back to the drawing board. Either you use multiple people in a multisig, or you try to create this one out of n honest assumption with BitVM. And then there's approaches like the one we're taking with Bob, which is kind of a middle step before we really get BitVM to work, and maybe extensions to the Bitcoin script is using Bitcoin miners themselves and involving the Bitcoin miners in the validation of the rollups, which is not perfect. It's not the ultimate solution, but it provides you already a first practical step that you can deploy today.
Thank you very much, Alexei. It's a very detailed answer. I hope everyone's learning from this. It's great to hear. I'm just conscious of time because we're going to move on to the ordinal section now, just so we can get a good, nice kind of discussion around this. This is open ended. Whoever wants to jump in, feel free to jump in on this. But for the audiences, for our audience who are less familiar, can someone just briefly explain what ordinals actually are and what they enable on Bitcoin?
Yeah, I'll jump in. So basically, ordinals, they're satoshis with inscribed bits of data that can be added to the blockchain and which can be indexed. So first off, you had like JPEGs and such, but now it's a lot more with different data structures created by various different what we call like meta protocols. And these are built using data indexers. So that all the data that is displayed that comes through an indexer. So that's what we also do at Unisat. That's like our first proposition was to build a indexer for the BRC20 ecosystem. It's very difficult to create a decentralized ecosystem with indexers. So we have to collaborate with other teams to make sure that the indexers follow the same logic. It's a bit funky, and that's why I also question why it's being done on all these new EVM chains. But I think it's an interesting experiment. So, yeah.
It's a very interesting experiment. It's something doing really well right now. The community for ordinals keeps growing day by day, which is fantastic to see. It's definitely bringing more adoption into Bitcoin. Has anyone else got their thoughts on where we might see ordinal shift from the use cases and application for the the years ahead? I know it's hard to talk years in crypto because everything moves super fast, but what's some of the stuff that we can see happening with ordinals maybe in the next year or so?
Hey, I can jump in here quickly. Yeah, again, like really interested in this from a tooling perspective, right? Once we have the tools to support ordinal utility and building applications that support trading or lending and borrowing or anything related to ordinal pricing from the Oracle side, then we can actually see even more innovation on top of these types of assets. So from the DIA side, we're really interested, and I think we're well positioned to actually prospectively support these types of assets. The way that we actually source our trades is directly from DEXs and centralized exchanges, so more of a first-party sourcing mechanism. And I think that's why we're relevant on the call today, hopefully, in that we're really looking at this category as an opportunity here. And we see across different chains, across different ecosystems, it's really like this chicken and egg problem where you need tooling. You need this critical tooling to drive innovation and to drive devs and applications into your ecosystem. So hopefully within the next year, we can start to see more general tooling, right? We have wallets on the call. We have other more of these early stage toolings. But we also have to get into more of the Oracle side and sort of like these types of tools that come once an ecosystem is more developed. Hopefully we begin to see that over the next year, and DIA can start to play more of a role within these ecosystems.
Thank you. So the last one's going to be what might be some of the leading ways ordinals become a part of like mainstream end user experiences powered by Bitcoin?
So I like to tag on. So the previous question was about like the shifting use cases and application for Bitcoin in the years ahead, but also like what's going to be like the leading way to like mainstream adoption. So like we have like open sourced our wallet, and we have completely opened up our indexing infrastructure. So users or developers can now like ask us for a API key, and you can access all of our infrastructure. So it's quite easy now to build apps like Web3 apps that interface with not just our wallet, but also other Web3 wallets on Bitcoin. And yeah, we hope to see more innovation, like not just for like NFTs and JPEGs and like doing raffles and such like that, but also more on like the side of tokens and such.
Thank you. Okay. Cool. I think we're at the end now. But has anyone got any closing remarks that they want to say before we end the spaces?
Yeah, I just wanted to throw it out there. There's a lot of people here who I've either worked with or as a user definitely got started in the space, and I definitely respect what everybody's doing, especially in particular Interlay obviously and or building with Bob, Unisat definitely was my first experience with ordinals and BRC20, definitely a game changer for me. Also Xverse, I believe was my first Bitcoin wallet or ordinals wallet in general. So that, and I'm still using it. I think I'm still using the same actual wallet to this day, but it's my primary wallet still. So, and I still, of course, have an Unisat wallet also. It's my two main go-tos. But just want to say again, really excited to see what everybody's doing here. Looking forward to like the near future and the distant future, and excited for the halving. And wish everybody the best here and much success.
Cool.
I also, if I can jump in, I'll share a few closing thoughts as well. Yeah, just on our side, yeah, definitely just so excited to see the ecosystem to continue to develop, around marketplaces and indexers and these exchanges and of course, like so many more wallets coming to market. I mean, we're actually on our side just thrilled to see that because just showing the demand in the ecosystem and and really pushing things forward and exciting. When we were starting to talk to investors earlier this year, I think there was a lot of skepticism around development on Bitcoin, and now, in the words of our CSO, it's there's probably not anybody that any investor that wouldn't want to speak to us at this point. So it's so exciting to see, just this whole flywheel effect come to Bitcoin with talent and builders and development and creatives and now more investors. So really exciting time. It's I would say lucrative time for builders who are interested in getting started in the space. Now is the best time. And ultimately, I guess we're kind of had two paths here. Either Solana or Ethereum or some other chain is going to flip Bitcoin and dominate entirely, or Bitcoin is going to see this huge demand for L2s and scalability. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing right now is opportunities on Bitcoin. People really realizing the long-term value here and the need to be able to build. So also want to echo that we're also open source and have some tools for builders out there. So would love for you guys to build with us, including the new inscription service. And just excited to see what's next with the halving, the spot ETF. And I know we have a lot of really exciting features and events coming up in 2024. So definitely would love to connect with any builders out there who are interested in building with us.